Hey everyone, it's Helen from SMB Deal Hunter. Today, we're going to talk with Christian about a deal he recently closed in the Pro program. It took Christian about 7 months from when he started working with us to close, and he financed it with an SBA 7A loan. So today, we're going to touch on what Christian was doing prior to buying this business, some of the challenges he had to navigate through the search, as well as how post-acquisition life has been. So let's jump in. First off, Christian, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Thanks, Helen. I'm a huge fan of the program. Wouldn't have been able to buy the business without you guys. So just want to start off with just a huge kudos to you and the SMB Deal Hunters team.
Really appreciate that. I guess, Christian, let's start with what you were doing before. What were you working on prior to jumping into this business buying world, and why did you just want to get out of that?
So I had most of my career spent in marketing, both on agency side as well as client side. I had been a part of a few agencies as an employee that were acquired. And so that, kind of piqued my interest as I kind of matured into my career, just thinking about maybe I could buy my next job, even though they say that's not what you're supposed to do. But I did just start learning a lot more about um, the ETA space, mainly through podcasts and search funder and communities like that. And then at some point I was just kind of, and I'm sure a lot of searchers get this way, where you're just sort of feeling a little stuck, like you just don't really know how to get to the next step. And that's when I started looking at the mastermind groups, and a contact of mine who actually attended the same college with in Search Funder um, had recently signed up for SMB Deal Hunters, and he suggested that I get in touch with you guys.
That's super helpful. What kind of progress had you made prior to joining? How long were you searching? Did you get to LOI? Were you just kind of browsing deals? Where were you at there?
I browsed for probably almost a year, probably seriously browsed for like 6 months, and then I joined the program in November 2024. Um, and from there, I had gone from like casually browsing to aggressively browsing. It was helpful to start getting deal flow from SMB Deal Hunters. But I actually found my deal on my own, wrote my first LOI and only LOI. Went under contract so we're at the first LOI in January. We, after due diligence, retraded in February, um, and ready to, kind of go into purchase agreement by March of 2025. We closed on May 9th, 2025.
Wow, so just over a month ago.
Yeah.
I'm curious, as you were thinking of taking the leap to join our program, join the Pro program, what was kind of going through your head? What were some of the things that were maybe holding you back?
Um, I think that and we've talked about this, like it's not cheap, it's not free, but there's a reason why that is. I think that I knew that if I was going to be making this commitment to myself, that I had to sort of I wanted to kind of take an action that was showing that I was investing in myself. And having looked at other mastermind programs, I knew that this would be the one that would just kind of fit me the nicest in terms of the kind of community I was looking for, the level of engagement I was looking for in terms of the advisors and the deal hunters. And I think the big bonus out of it all, which I didn't really expect or plan for, was just the personal connections I've made with other searchers. And I count many of them as like friends and colleagues. And we've all sort of I think there was definitely like a crew of us that um, were kind of closing around the same time, or, negotiating and searching and closing around the same time. And we've all stayed super tight.
I love that. That's great. I guess let's jump ahead a little bit. Tell us about the business you acquired, maybe some of the high level terms.
Sure. It's Riverbend Consulting. It was formed in 2017 by two Amazon sellers who came together because one of the co-founders had his Amazon account shut down, and he needed help. And the second co-founder, who he got connected with, sort of had developed a little bit of an expertise in how to get out of a jam when Amazon health issues come up. And so they just sort of started doing this as a business. She was able to get his account unsuspended. Um, I think he saw that there was an opportunity to kind of make this into a kind of like an almost an agency type consulting company just for Amazon sellers, and they did it. And over that time, they've hired mostly former Amazon employees. Um, they've really kind of stayed uh, in touch with that Amazon selling community, which is it's a pretty kind of tight-knit group of e-commerce sellers. They also expanded into Walmart, so they're handling account health issues with Walmart as well. Um, it was surprising to me how steady the business was month to month. Good, healthy six-figure revenue that didn't really kind of change all that much based on like the seasonality of Amazon's Prime days and the holidays, back to school. Like Amazon definitely has some like key moments of the year, but this business was able to stay stable and growing despite what I would have expected to be more kind of typical e-commerce seasonality.
That's great. Anything else that, made you sort of attracted to this deal and this opportunity?
I had a personal experience with having been suspended from a big platform and having no reason why. That happened to me about 2018, and you know, it was like devastating. I mean, it was a whole side hustle business that I had built up. And so when I looked at this business, at Riverbend, I kind of was like, I bet there's not a wide buyer audience for this because it's a little hard to understand the need for it unless it's happened to you. I also think that my personal experience with having been suspended is what made my LOI really kind of strong for the sellers. And I mean, they told me as such that, the combination of the fact that I immediately understood how the business works, but that I also had a lot of experience with running agencies, that they, were just convinced that this would be the right fit. And I think that, and I don't think that this always happens, but the sellers are great people. I mean, they're friends. I mean, we really had like a good experience with the transition and with just keeping a super good relationship throughout this whole process.
That's great. How did you tell us a little bit how you financed the deal? Um, and
It was I had saved up a decent amount um over the years for a I was expecting about a 10% down payment, but I probably could have I didn't want to have to leverage all of that. So I, when I found this deal, I knew that just by the size of it, it was, within it, SBA kind of limits. I also found out as I started meeting with the SBA lenders that SMB introduced me to, that like this was a good deal, and not a good deal, but it made sense. While the business itself might not have made sense, I think that all the lenders were like, we understand why you're the right person to buy this business. And so I think it just made me a good candidate. And as we went through due diligence and I did, start to learn more about the business, I was able to de-risk some of the deal through seller notes. Um, and I think that kind of just added with my experience and capital that I was bringing in, just made the financing part pretty easy.
no, that's great. I'm curious, how do you feel now? Finally, 1 month in, or a little over a month in, finally being a business owner on the other side. How does it feel? and how's the transition been?
It's been super great. It's a complex industry, so I'm learning so much every day. Um, I'd say the stress level is different than I've ever experienced before as a first-time business owner. Um, but I wouldn't change anything at all. I think like just the ability to know that your destiny is kind of like within your control, and that what you decide, the directions that you decide to go and the decisions that you make are all yours, has been kind of a new kind of feeling. I won't lie, it's a lot of work and it is a lot of stress, but so far I'm up for it and I like it. No regrets whatsoever.
That's fantastic to hear. Final question for me. What would you tell someone, Christian, who's watching this right now, is unsure about, taking the next step or leap to, join us in the pro program, join the community and work together?
The one thing I observed in the program, which I can't say is universally true, but I have found that the folks who keep their W-2 job while also searching, I feel like have either a longer learning curve or a bit more of a struggle. And I can completely understand why, because oftentimes they also have kids, family commitments. And I think it can be really hard to take this step while balancing it with like the security of a job. So I'd say my one piece of advice would be if you're considering doing that, like if you could take a sabbatical or just take like some time off to really focus in on this. I mean, the Deal Hunter team is going to do everything to make it as easy on you as possible, but like you still have to do the work. And that guy who recommended me into the program, he's like, I signed up just because I needed to like get in the reps. And I was like, I kind of need that too. Like I just need to like get in that cycle. So once you're in, like you're going to do great. It's just that you have to really make the commitment to do it.
No, that's a good shout. Well, Christian, thanks again for your time today.
Thank you.
And for those listening, if Christian's story sound anything like what you've been going through, then this program might be a good fit for you. Just click on the link somewhere on this page, learn more. And Christian, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really excited to see where this journey goes for you and to continue following along and supporting.
Thank you, Helen. Take care.